Sorry, I will speak in English. So national security is certainly the hottest issue for Armenia, and the Artsakh question is still and has its full role in this issue. So we all know the situation. No more Armenian population in Artsakh, and soon no more Armenian traces in Artsakh. Shockingly, many in Armenia in diaspora do believe that the cause is over. For a lawyer, that's quite strange, because the Artsakh ethnic cleansing is already an object of academic curiosity, while the ashes of this disaster are still smoking. And the psychological trauma of a blockade and the forced displacement are still very strong. So what are the rights of Artsakh people? Because the self-determination question is far from being over. It just needs to reformulate the right of self-determination. So the right of return of refugees and displaced people, like my colleague said, is fully recognized and guaranteed by international law, be it human rights law or humanitarian law. So this right is both individual and collective. Each refugee has the right to decide on his own about the life he wants to have, to return his land, to his home, or not to return and being compensated. But the right to self-determination is exercised collectively. And so the temporary measures decided by the International Court of Justice has already recorded that right, individual and collective. Hence, the right to return does not represent any legal difficulty. The difficulties are more political and diplomatic. The right to return is a battle essentially of a diplomatic nature. And this right can be best advocated by interstate claims, so like the ones going on at the International Court of Justice, and supported by resolution of the Security Council of the United Nations. The judgments from the International Court of Justice are important because once they are delivered, if Azerbaijan does not enforce these judgments, then every state and also the Artsakh people can claim for some resolutions from the Security Council to force this judgment. So that's why the ICJ proceedings are key in this context. Today there are some discussion which have been evoked publicly by the Prime Minister about the possibility, I'm stressing the word possibility, of withdrawing the application at the ICJ against Azerbaijan on a reciprocal basis, which is a part of the negotiations over the possible peace treaty. So if it were to happen, the legal achievements of temporary measures will be lost. So it would sustain a fatal blow to the Artsakh rights. So this nightmare scenario has to be avoided at any rate. So let's see how. The right to self-determination is what we call erga omnes rights. What means this barbaric Latin word? It means that this is a right that every state, member of the United Nations, has the right to invoke against a state which has violated these norms. Among these norms, there is the act of genocide, there is the very severe racial discrimination case, crimes against humanity, and the violation of the right to self-determination. It has been confirmed by many judgments of the International Court of Justice. So what does it mean concretely? It means that today, if by any scenario Armenia was withdrawing from the ongoing proceedings at the International Court of Justice, then Armenian world, so that means not only the Artsakh people, but also the diaspora, has to be ready to lobby and convince third states, starting by the states where you are nationals, so France, United States, European states. You must convince them to intervene at the stage of the merits in the ongoing proceedings against Azerbaijan. That's the only way to avoid a nightmare scenario. And for that, of course, Artsakh Armenians must act independently from the Armenian government. Because the Armenian government's interests are not necessarily the interest of the Artsakh people today. So this is where the diaspora should probably concentrate its support and resources if they are still so interested in the resolution of the Artsakh question. And to make you more comfortable, third states' intervention in the ongoing case would not harm the Armenian government or the Armenian government interests. On the contrary, it would reinforce its diplomacy and its position in the negotiation with Azerbaijan. Thank you.
Շնորհակալություն։